The air over the South China Sea on November 10, 2025, was thick with tension, as if the very clouds themselves sensed the gravity of what was about to unfold. The horizon glowed with the first hints of dawn, but beneath the beauty, a storm of uncertainty brewed. Before sunrise, two small Philippine supply boats, the ML Unaiza Mai 1 and 2, slipped quietly from the harbor. Their mission was simple in theory: deliver vital supplies to Filipino Marines stationed on a rusting warship. But in reality, every journey was a calculated risk, a test of resolve and courage. This was more than a delivery. It was a stand for sovereignty in one of the world's most contested waters. Each trip was a statement, a declaration that the Philippines would not be intimidated or pushed aside. On the horizon, the massive white hulls of the China Coast Guard appeared, growing larger with every passing minute, intent on blocking the mission and enforcing Beijing's sweeping maritime claims. The Chinese ships moved with intimidating precision, their maneuvers calculated and deliberate, a clear assertion of Beijing's dominance and resolve to control these waters. Radio warnings crackled through the static, escalating from polite requests to sharp, threatening commands. The tension in the air was almost palpable, every word a reminder of the risks ahead. For the Filipino crews, mostly civilian sailors, this was a familiar, nerve-wracking ordeal. Their faces betrayed a mix of anxiety and determination, knowing that each mission could be their most dangerous yet. They'd faced water cannons and near collisions before, but pressed on, knowing their cargo was a lifeline for the Marines isolated on the distant outpost. Turning back was never an option. Each mission was a message. The Marines on the BRP Sierra Madre were not forgotten, and the Philippines would not yield. The rusting hull of the ship stood as a symbol of resistance, a stubborn outpost in a sea of uncertainty. The stakes had never been higher, every resupply run now a global flashpoint, watched by the world as a test of international resolve and the fragile balance of power in the region. The open sea, once a symbol of freedom and endless possibility, had become a claustrophobic arena of conflict, where every wave carried the weight of history, and every encounter could spark a crisis. The sailors checked their gear, braced themselves for whatever might come, and sailed straight into the heart of a geopolitical storm, their resolve hardening with every mile. Ordinary people, extraordinary mission, defying pressure for the sake of their nation's flag. In these tense waters, their courage became a beacon, a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, the spirit of a nation endures. The journey to Ayungin Shoal is a gauntlet, one that tests not just the strength of a vessel but the resolve of its crew. Each trip begins with a sense of foreboding, as the open sea stretches endlessly ahead and the waves batter the hull with relentless force. These are waters China claims as its own, a vast expanse where every nautical mile is contested and every movement is watched. As the Philippine boats advanced, China Coast Guard vessels began their aggressive maneuvers, crisscrossing paths, creating dangerous wakes, and forming a moving blockade. The tension in the air was palpable, as every turn could bring a new confrontation. The captains of the Unaiza May boats had to read every move, searching for fleeting gaps in the wall of steel. Every decision was made in seconds, with the safety of the crew hanging in the balance. It was a high-stakes chess match, with human lives and national pride on the line. Each maneuver was a calculated risk, a test of nerve and experience. The psychological pressure was relentless, every horn, every warning, every close pass designed to break their will. The constant blare of sirens and the looming presence of larger ships made the atmosphere almost unbearable. Chinese maritime militia, disguised as fishing boats, added to the chaos, swarming unpredictably. Their unpredictable movements created confusion, making navigation even more hazardous. The goal was clear: make the mission so perilous that the Philippines would give up, to wear down their resolve through sheer intimidation and numbers. But the Filipino sailors persisted, their courage found in simply refusing to turn back. Each face told a story of quiet bravery, of men and women determined to fulfill their duty. They navigated the maritime maze with quiet resolve, enduring harassment from all sides. Every successful maneuver was a small victory, a testament to their skill and determination. Their task was simple: deliver the goods, no matter the odds. Supplies meant hope for those stationed at the outpost, and failure was not an option. In these contested waters, holding course was an act of defiance. Persistence itself became heroism, as every journey to Ayungin Shoal stood as a symbol of national resolve and the unyielding spirit of those who dared to make the crossing. At the center of this tense maritime standoff lies the BRP Sierra Madre, a World War II-era ship once a proud vessel of the United States Navy, now serving a new and critical purpose for the Philippines. In 1999, the Philippine government made the bold decision to intentionally ground the Sierra Madre on Ayungin Shoal, transforming it into a permanent outpost in the contested South China Sea. Rusting and battered by decades of salt and storms, the ship is more than just a relic of the past. It's a living outpost, a daily assertion of Philippine sovereignty in these disputed waters. The Marines stationed here are not just soldiers, they are living flagpoles, their presence a daily act of defiance and resilience against China's sweeping territorial claims. Life aboard the Sierra Madre is harsh and unforgiving. Cramped quarters, relentless exposure to the elements, and the constant threat of isolation. The crew's survival depends entirely on precarious resupply missions, often carried out under the watchful eyes of Chinese vessels that seek to intimidate and block access. Yet, the ship's very existence is a powerful statement, reinforcing Manila's legal rights and claims over these resource-rich waters, as recognized by international law. Each successful delivery of food, water, and supplies is a small but significant victory, a lifeline for the Marines and a message to the world that the Philippines will not back down. The Sierra Madre is a strategic masterstroke. Its presence asserts law and sovereignty, relying on international support rather than sheer firepower. Its rusting hull stands as a stubborn, undeniable fact, one that China cannot erase without risking open conflict and global condemnation. The ship keeps the dispute in the global spotlight, transforming a complex legal battle into a compelling story of David versus Goliath, drawing international attention and sympathy. Here, sovereignty is defended not with missiles or might, but with unwavering resolve, the rule of law, and the courage of those who stand watch. The Sierra Madre endures as the front line in the Philippines' struggle for its maritime rights, a rusting but resolute symbol of national pride and determination. As tension peaked, a new player appeared overhead, the U.S. Navy's P-8A Poseidon surveillance aircraft. It didn't intervene, but its presence changed everything. The message was clear. The world, and the United States, were watching. The Poseidon sensors recorded every move, providing irrefutable evidence and a powerful deterrent. For the Filipino crews, the sight of the American plane was reassurance. They were not alone. Any Chinese escalation would be witnessed by a global superpower. For China, the Poseidon was an unwelcome reminder of U.S. involvement and a challenge to its authority. The intelligence gathered helped the Philippines anticipate Chinese tactics and navigate the blockade. The American eyes in the sky leveled the playing field, countering China's size with information. The Poseidon's mere presence was action enough, supporting allies without direct confrontation. It was a silent guardian, ensuring the world saw what unfolded in these contested waters. The confrontation became a tense game of cat and mouse. The Unizame captains displayed remarkable seamanship, weaving through gaps and outmaneuvering the larger Chinese ships. The risks were enormous. A single miscalculation could mean disaster. The China Coast Guard used shouldering tactics, steering close to intimidate, but the Filipino crews held their nerve. Their heroism was quiet, the engineer keeping engines running, the deckhand securing cargo, the captain steering through danger. The Marines on the Sierra Madre watched anxiously, their fate tied to the sailors below. Through skill and resolve, ML Unizame 1 found a gap and made a daring dash through the cordon. The China Coast Guard, wary of international scrutiny, did not pursue. The lifeline had reached its destination, a small victory, but everything for those on board. In this struggle, endurance and courage won the day. The mission was accomplished. To understand China's actions, you must understand the 9-dash line. This sweeping claim covers nearly 90% of the South China Sea, based on historical rights and old maps. China sees Ayungin Shoal as its own, calling the Philippine presence illegal. The Coast Guard's actions are framed as law enforcement, not harassment. China rejects the 2016 arbitral ruling and portrays the Philippines as the provocateur, backed by the U.S. The ultimate goal: establish de facto control, making it too costly for others to resist. The standoff at Ayungin is just one move in China's long-term strategy to reshape Asia's maritime map. The Philippines has crafted an asymmetric strategy, fighting in the courts of law and public opinion. Transparency is key. Every incident is documented and publicized, turning China's gray zone tactics into black and white evidence. Dramatic footage galvanizes international support and puts pressure on Beijing. Manila anchors its actions in the 2016 arbitral ruling, positioning itself as the law-abiding actor. This elevates the dispute to a test of whether rules or might govern the seas. The Philippines also strengthens alliances with the US, Japan, Australia, and Europe, ensuring it's not alone. Joint patrols and intelligence sharing bolster its defenses and send a clear message to China. Transparency, law, and alliances. These are Manila's primary weapons in defending its sovereignty. The U.S. Navy's presence reflects the U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty signed in 1951. The treaty commits both nations to defend each other in case of armed attack. Recently, Washington clarified, any attack on Philippine forces in the South China Sea could trigger U.S. intervention. This security guarantee deters China from using lethal force, but also raises the risk of escalation. The treaty emboldens Manila, making each resupply mission a test of alliance credibility. Every successful mission, watched by American assets, reinforces the message. The alliance is real, but a single miscalculation could spiral into a superpower confrontation. The balance is delicate, deterrence without provocation. The standoff at Ayungin Shoal is more than a local dispute. It's a microcosm of the global struggle between rules and power. The South China Sea is a vital artery for global trade. Control here means leverage over the world economy. If China prevails, it could dictate terms of passage, threatening supply chains and emboldening similar moves elsewhere. The conflict challenges the authority of international law. If rulings can be ignored, might makes right. For the US and its allies, supporting the Philippines is a test of their commitment to the rules-based order. Failure would signal retreat, creating a vacuum China would fill. The rusting Sierra Madre has become a symbol of this larger contest. Each resupply mission sends a message: will law or force shape the future of the seas?